Welcome to E-commerce Fastlane, Episode 1.
Welcome to E-commerce Fastlane, the podcast show to help you build, launch, grow, and scale a wildly successful e-commerce company. Listen to real conversations with proven practical strategies and success stories. Learn how to generate more traffic, more sales, more profit, and customer lifetime value for your Shopify store. And now, your host and e-commerce entrepreneur, Steve Hutt.
Hey there, it's Steve, and welcome back to the E-commerce Fastlane podcast. And if this is your first time listening, this is an e-commerce show where we have honest and transparent conversations about building and thriving online with your Shopify store. New episodes are available each week in iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, or available online at ecommercefastlane.com. On today's show, have you ever struggled with ways to increase your average order value? Well, that's exactly what we're going to help you with today. You'll learn how to create upsells, cross-sells, post-purchase upsells, and even smart upsells. Wow, it's going to be a great show today. Today I'm chatting with Jay Myers, and he's the co-founder and chief marketing officer for Bold Commerce. They're the largest third-party app developer on Shopify. And he's going to talk today about Bold Upsell app and exciting new product called Bold Brain. Jay, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Steve. It's awesome to be here.
So tell me a little bit about Bold Commerce. I mean, I have, I know you're the largest, developer on Shopify in our ecosystem, and you have a range of product and stuff like that. And I know a lot of my merchants and different friends of mine that are using a lot of your different solutions. It's pretty amazing how, kind of your journey so far. So can you just share with me just kind of, how you help store owners kind of sell more online?
Well, first of all, it's awesome to hear that so many of your stores are using our apps. That's definitely our goal. We started with Shopify in 2012. Myself, I've been an online store owner since 1998. So hopefully that doesn't date me too much or age me too much. Wow. But I've been on kind of every platform over the years. In 2009, I moved one of my stores onto Shopify. And I think at that time, Shopify had 7,000 or 8,000 stores. They were very small at that time still. And one of the first things I realized was, I guess it was like around 2010 when I kind of really started to take off with Shopify, was this app store they had. I just thought it was the coolest thing that there could be a la carte solutions that you could plug into your online store. And at that time, like in 2010, that was very revolutionary. So right away, I mean, there wasn't that many apps on it then. It was more like you'd go to the app store and go, oh, I wish there was this app. Oh, I wish there was this app. Where now there's 10 different versions of every app. It's pretty solid. Back then, I think, actually the first app I wanted for my own personal store was a product comparison app where I sold sporting goods equipment. So when you're looking at backpacks, you can, click 5 different ones and compare and see all the different features. And so as the story went, me and a couple buddies, there was 4 of us, we got together, and one's a designer and 2 are developers, good friends, and Steph and Eric and Ivan. And we said, hey, why don't we just build this and, see if we can make a little extra beer money on the side and maybe take our wives on vacation once a year or something. That was our goal. So we just said, well, what's the easiest app we can build first? And we said, why don't we just build an upsell app? How hard can that be? And so here we are 5 years later, and we're still adding and iterating on it. It's funny because that was what we thought would be the easiest one to tackle first. And a very, very basic upsell app isn't that hard to do, but we've added in so much more since then. And then on top of that, we have 20 something other apps. So it's not just been focusing on that app for 5 years, but we've, it's been a pretty fun journey. I think we just hit around 180 people, and we only build on Shopify. So it's everything Shopify apps. And then we have a bit of a custom solutions. A lot of it is actually people using our apps that want it customized in some way. And then we do work with some large brands building them out, custom solutions as well. So, but the product side is definitely the kind of the core of the company.
Yeah, and I see that too. When I actually went to your website at boldcommerce.com and then I clicked on apps, I knew that you had a full range of product available, but it's interesting to see, I guess you're finding some pains in the market and, people have requested certain things and, you have built out, it's always been my thought that Shopify does 80% of e-commerce really well, and it's just that final kind of 20% that needs a little bit of help. And I think that's where either private apps, which I guess you're talking about from a development perspective, or tweaking things to maybe mass appeal of some apps. And I think that's a good segue into kind of, I guess, one of the apps or two of the apps that we want to talk about today is this thing called Product Upsell and BoldBrain. And it's when I was looking at the website, and I have merchants and different clients that are using kind of what I call the 1-2 punch of kind of product upsell and this BoldBrain, and it made me think about what exactly is an upsell and what is a cross sell? Because, and I have my ideas of what it is, and maybe I'll share kind of where I'm thinking it is. And maybe you can share kind of if I'm on track, and just kind of how this product, this app, helps merchants in the end just, increase their average order. And for me, I find an upsell is like literally like to get a customer to spend more money. I mean, that's kind of like the first thing I think about in an upsell. Buy a more expensive model of the same product with maybe more features, or includes a better warranty, or or just more of a complete package. And I was using an example a lot about maybe buying a camera that that maybe includes batteries, and that's kind of like an upsell offer to increase kind of the average basket size, which is important for profitability. And then obviously improves the lifetime customer value of that customer, versus maybe a cross sell. I always think a cross sell is, getting a customer maybe to spend more money. So it's similar to an upsell, but I just think that it increases the order size. It adds kind of more products to the cart, like a buy one, get one, or buy one, get 50% off, or adding accessories and related items. So I still think that they're kind of semi-related, but they're, but it's, so I'm just curious on kind of your feeling on it and
well,
your take.
You've got a pretty good understanding of it. I'd say you hit it right on. And what's funny is we actually, the product upsell app for 4 years actually did cross sells, even though,
okay.
It's kind of, what we found was merchants refer to them as upsells, even though they're actually cross sells. So it's like, like you said, you're buying, if someone said to you, what's a classic upsell? Well, it's would you like fries with that? That's actually a cross sell. So you're buying a hamburger and they're offering you fries, but everyone kind of says that's the perfect example of an upsell. That's not actually an upsell. Like an upsell would be they're buying a hamburger. Would you like to pay 50 cents more to get the double burger? So it's like a bigger version of the burger. We called it product upsell because merchants referred to them as upsells, even though technically they were cross sells, because it would be you buy one product and then you can offer a related product kind of that was associated with that original product. The difference is they all increase your average order volume. AOV is what we like call it. So that's definitely, they kind of have the same end goal, and they just approach it from different angles. And like when it really boils down to it, this is all stuff that exists offline. And I just to step back just a little bit on kind of like our apps and how we think about things here is every app we build, and this kind of comes from the fact that we were store owners too, is we've always approached it like, how can we make stores more money? And so we don't really have any integration apps. There's two that we have right now. We took those over from Shopify to help maintain them. That's the QuickBooks and the Xero apps. Those are the only apps that we have that are what I would call an integration app, where it's syncing your store with a third-party service. Every one of our other apps is like, how can we make the store owners more money, save them time, make their customers' lives better? So they're all very like front-facing, or in some way the customer interacts with it. So a lot of the challenges that offline stores face, I shouldn't say challenges, techniques they use to improve sales are the same ones that stores online face. And the four main ways that stores increase average order volume offline is bundling, price anchoring, cross-selling and upselling. And so we do have a bundling app, that's a separate thing, but with this app, you can do cross-selling and upselling. And so price anchoring is a separate thing, but you can kind of also do that within upselling. Price anchoring, if anyone doesn't know, is if you're offering 3 products, you always want to anchor, like there's 3 types of people. There's people that consider themselves thrifty, and there's people that consider themselves high end, and then there's the people that consider themselves down the middle. And so anytime you have a product, you want to anchor it. Where if I'm just looking at a product and it's $99.99 and I don't see an anchor, like what's the cheap version and what's the more expensive version, I have a tough time mentally in my head as it saying, am I buying high end or am I buying thrifty right now? So even within upsell offers, you can price anchor. So anyway, so yeah, we just took those strategies and digitized them. 5 years ago when we built it, it was actually the first upsell app ever. So it was kind of revolutionary. Now there's a number of versions out there that are all pretty good in one way or another. Yeah.
So again, I guess that makes me think about, so with the app then, so specifically for Shopify store owners now, so how do they make more money with the app? I mean, that's kind of the meat and potatoes, I think, of people's, it's always a challenge when a merchant comes to me and they say, I'm getting a certain amount of traffic to my website, but I feel that, my conversion rate isn't as high as I'd like it to be, or my average order value isn't as high as, they're just trying to be more profitable with the existing customers they do have. And so, maybe you can kind of just share with me if you have any stats or any ideas about kind of like, what does it actually do, and will it help people make more money for their store?
Yeah, good question. So, well, I can tell you this. Overall, we have thousands and thousands of stores using it. And the overall average of upsell conversions, and what we consider an upsell conversion is when someone adds the product to the cart, like an offer comes up and they say yes and they add it in, is just over 11%. So that's pretty substantial. And I mean, we have some stores seeing far greater than that. We have some stores seeing, much less, but that's an overall average. So yeah, without a doubt, upsells work. Now, we had people install the app and say, this doesn't work? Absolutely. And oftentimes, there's a number of reasons why stores sometimes struggle with it. I think one of the number one things is actually time. Like, so when we first, and I guess we'll get into the brain a little bit, but that's where that comes in. But like automation, if a store has 10,000 products, it's time consuming. And what we would see is there's a number of different ways you can create an upsell offer. You can say, if a person buys this product, offer this product. Now, if you have 20 products, that's not a problem. But if you have 10,000 products, that can take you months. Yeah, exactly. You can say, if someone buys a product from this collection, so if someone buys any sweater, offer this product. Now that's okay, but now we're getting less targeted, right? So the first scenario is ideal because it's like, if they buy this purple scarf, offer this exact purple matching leather gloves. So that's very targeted. That's going to convert very high, but that's very time consuming to create. The next step is like, if they buy any scarf, offer these black leather gloves. Okay. So it's a little less targeted, still going to convert, but not as good. But still a lot of stores have a lot of collections, and that was still time consuming. So what we started to see was stores would just create these generic upsell offers where if customer spends $50 or more, offer this hat or something like that, which is completely not related to what the customer's actually buying. It would still convert, but now we're talking like 1 or 2% conversion, like very little.
Yeah. And I've seen that too, where, in the past, I've had merchants that have excess inventory and they're trying to move it out as quickly as possible. And they've kind of manually added it on, as an upsell offer, hoping that, just with some exposure, it would help move the product. And, it's unfortunately, I think it's better to have kind of a sale link in the navigation and have a collection of product that's just not moving well, and just kind of have that be discoverable there than maybe doing a proper cross-sell or upsell from within your solution, which And it makes me think too, because you do have, I guess this is new, and I think you'll discuss it now. But it's this thing called bold brain, and I think it's quite an interesting topic that I think needs to be discussed, because it is quite an unfortunate manual process, I think, right now of upsells and cross sells to a certain degree. Because you're right, you have to either select the related product that you want individually or by collection, and they're not always completely tailored to kind of dynamically machine learning kind of what's actually going on in your store, and are people actually buying this mouse with this keyboard. And I think that's, maybe you can share about kind of your take with bold brain and maybe how these two apps can work together.
Yeah. I just want to, just as you were asking that, I thought of one last thing I just want to say on the upsells versus cross sells, because this question comes up all the time. When you're actually offering an upsell, it replaces the original item. So like if you're buying a 1 pound bag of coffee and then it offers the 2 pound, it removes the 1 pound and adds the 2 pound in. That's key to the upsell. It replaces, where the cross sell adds. And this is just an interesting stat, is upsells, like an upsell where you're offering just a better version of the product, we've noticed converts about 20 times better than cross sells, which is, I find really interesting. And I just wanted to throw that out there, just to get people thinking. And I guess the reason why it makes sense, if you're already mentally committed to buying coffee, let's say, the mental strain to buy a little bit more is very little to buy a bigger bag, versus where if you're buying coffee and it says, hey, would you also like this coffee mug? Well, you weren't shopping for a coffee mug, so it's a little less likely to convert. So, so the brain is super exciting. We've been working on this for over a year. And I guess it kind of started because exactly to what we were just talking about, how stores would install it and then they would just create a couple offers and then get fatigued and then just create a generic offer for their whole store, where we would see that if stores actually took the time and created highly targeted upsell offers, they would convert 40-50% versus 1 or 2%. So, we started to think, well, hey, we have all this data in a store. Actually, I guess I should take a little bit of a step back. The brain isn't just it doesn't just work with upsell. We started, our main goal with the bold brain is, how can we make stores smarter in general? So you could take upsell. The brain is a standalone app. It's a really, really good, it has a lot of data about your store, and it's a really good product recommendation app. So if you just install the bold brain, you can put a widget on your store, and you can put it anywhere. You can put it on product pages, cart pages, wherever you want. And it's the, customers you may also like kind of widget. But the key is it's not just showing other products in the same collection. It's using a dozen different data points of actual order history, what customers look at, what that customer's looked at, if there's a browser session, ones that were bought together, ones that were bought even different. It doesn't have to be together, but by the same customer over a certain time span. So like the customer might have bought something now and then a month later bought this. So we look at that too. So it takes in a bunch of different data points and then kind of draws correlations between these products and then shows them there. And they're extremely high converting recommended products because of all the different data points that we look at. So that's the bold brain in a very, very nutshell. It's going to start doing a lot more than that. But then we started integrating it with all of our apps. So there's an integration point with Upsell that is really neat. There's also an integration with our subscriptions app, with our loyalties app, with, eventually it's actually going through all of our apps. And we're thinking, how can we automate processes so stores can just kind of install it and it works. Upsell was the first one we did. And so the obvious one with Upsell is, let's use this data we have and create upsell offers for stores to save them time. So if they have thousands of products, they don't have to go through, and not just save them time, it actually creates better converting upsell offers. So the bold brain, if you log into it, sometimes it takes a couple hours. It might actually take up to a couple days to analyze. But then what it does is it comes up with what it suggests as offers, and you can accept them all. Right now, you can you can bulk select them or manually. It won't automatically create the upsell offers for you, but it's literally just a click to turn them on. So still saving you days of time. And then it gives what we call an IQ score. So depending, 100 is I don't think I've ever seen 100. 100 is 100% of the time the customer buys this product with this product. It's
Right.
really the high IQ score. But if it's 60 or above, or even 50 or above, it's going to be a high converting upsell offer. And it's just one click and it creates that offer in your store, and you can just go and create all of them. And so we have some stores that are doing more upsells in a month than they used to do in a year, with not changing anything, not changing any products, prices. All they did was install the Brain with upsell, and the Brain is free, by the way. It's kind of like a data plugin that works with upsell, and then just all they did was just start accepting the offers, and they're doing 10x what they used to do in upsell offers. I was looking through some stats the other day. I think I have it up here. Yeah. So we looked at stores that had upsell for 90 days and then had the Brain and the upsells for 90 days, and kind of looked at some data to see how's it affecting these stores. The add to cart conversion, so that's like upsell offers pop up and add to cart, increased 149% for those stores. So this is actually one that was really interesting. So of those stores, there's it's not a huge, maybe about 70 or 80 stores we looked at in this group but we wanted stores that had upsell without Brain for 90 days and then upsell with Brain for 90 days. And I ran this about a month ago. The biggest thing was views. So in that group of stores, there was 358,000 upsell views. That means like how many times an offer was literally viewed. And then 900, and then after installing the Brain, 932,000. And I think one of the biggest things, so yes, it increases conversion. But it's these stores owners just don't have time to create all these offers. So if you can have something automated, they're getting more, there's more offers. So every product on their store is going to have some very highly targeted relevant offer. If there isn't a relevant offer, the Brain won't suggest it. So there won't be something on there that's like annoying your customer with not a relevant offer. But if there is, and so there's just that many more offers being showed. So stores are just killing it with having that solved.
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. Yeah. I mean, it seems like a no-brainer. I mean, it's especially when it's free. It sounds like you put, a year's worth of kind of smarts into it to figure out these certain data points. And, and just, I like the fact too, that it doesn't just automatically kind of recommend things. You have to approve it. And I think that's great. Because, as a business owner, your business best, and it will take time for it to almost machine learning to make these decisions.
Yeah. You still want that final say. Yeah.
You do. Yeah. So maybe we should maybe think outside the box just for a minute. So I guess there must be different types of upsells, or maybe even are there any crazy upsell offers that you've seen lately that you can share with listeners?
For sure. And this is the question that comes up a lot, because a lot of times stores will say, well, I don't really have relevant products. I have 10 products on my site. They're all on my homepage. Or there's a lot of stores that are single product stores. They just had a Kickstarter campaign, one product, and they have a Shopify store. So if you have thousands of products, it's a no-brainer. You're going to have products bought together. But some of the interesting ones we've seen, we see stores selling warranty packages. That's a common thing. So, on checkout, an offer comes up, add an extended warranty. So that's maybe not something you traditionally think as an upsell offer, but that's something a lot of stores use it for. Gift wrapping is a very common one. You can do it on the product or on the cart. So either when they click add to cart or on checkout, would you like to add gift wrapping, and you can charge for it $5, or you can make it free. Usually people charge a couple bucks for it because it's kind of a good way to add a little bit to it. So instruction guides are kind of a cool thing we've seen. So people upselling, if you're buying, I don't know, think of a product like some type of skateboard or something, and maybe you have like a pro guide from that Tony Hawk wrote on like how to use it or something like that. So for $9.99, get the pro user guide, or some type of document on it. So that's it's, again, thinking outside the box. I think one of the coolest ones I've seen recently, we had a store do this, and they just killed it. They upsold a mystery box, and so no one knew what was in it. It was, you would check out, and then the offer would just say for, I can't remember what the price was. It was like $7 or $10 or something. For $10 more, add a mystery box. And so you wouldn't even know what it was. It was a picture of a box with a big question mark on it, kind of gift wrapped. And they had a crazy high conversion on it. I was blown away. I don't know their exact strategy, if like every item in the box was less, like $10 or less, or like maybe it ranged. Some were $5 and some were $20. And so, but they averaged out making money on it. So again, like that was something that people love, a mystery. People love a surprise, and they couldn't resist not getting it.
Yeah, it's almost like fear of missing out too. If he didn't checkbox it, and then all of a sudden, you go into social media and go like, "Hey, I bought this mystery box." It's a very interesting strategy and tactic to do that sort of thing. And
it was
I guess
one other one I just kind of thought of actually. Donations is actually an interesting one that a lot of people do as well too. So they'll create a product, add variants like $1, $2, $5, $10, and then on checkout, it's like, would you like to add an extra $1 or $2 to a and we've seen this happen a lot when there's been crisis, like, hurricanes and floods. Store owners will add a upsell at checkout that is a donation. And, that's obviously not to increase your revenue, but it's for a good cause. And we've seen a lot of people use upsell for that as well too. So.
Yeah, I can see the whole social conscience part of brands. I think it's kind of a very big differentiator right now that I see. Just merchants that I have close contact with. A lot of them have some kind of philanthropy or some kind of an offer that says, "Hey, we're not just all money hungry and earning profit," which is a starting point, but it really gives back to the community, and I think that's a great way to use your app. I was thinking too. There's other, I guess, different ways of using upsell that I think stores can use, and I've had some experience. One, and maybe you can explain some of the ones that are on top of mind for me. But one I think about is like post-purchase upsells, and it's an interesting topic that's been mentioned to me a few times by some merchants, and are saying, "Hey, I hear that after somebody makes a purchase that they've already committed, and we're not trying to upsell them or cross-sell them. The transaction is done, but then there's this post-purchase upsell." Kind of action that happens. Can you explain a little bit of kind of what that is?
So what a post-purchase upsell is after the order is complete, you present an offer to the customer where, you can have a kind of a countdown timer where it's like one last chance to get this product. And, there's 3 minutes and it's counting down, and it's one click. They don't have to re-enter their credit card information. They've just gone through the checkout. And if, it's one click to add. And actually, so there's kind of a couple interesting benefits of that. One is you can completely get out of the way of the customer. So you can let them have there is some debate of, does an upsell decrease conversion because you're showing an offer when the customer checks out? And we actually haven't seen, so there could be a very, very slight, I don't think I completely subscribe to that theory, but either way, the benefit, like the extra revenue, outweighs the 0.001% maybe of conversion lost. And I think if you do it in a tactful way, I don't even think you lose conversion. I think it's only when stores are upselling a completely unrelated product that you might scare away a customer. But if it's very targeted, you're doing the customer a favor. They're buying a camera and you're offering them an extra battery for it. Like, they're not going to be like, "Oh, screw these guys, they offered me an extra battery, I'm leaving." But it's like, if you're buying a camera and it's like, "Hey, would you like a hat for our store?" And like, no, come on. Like, so if the upsells are relevant, I don't think you lose any conversion. But if you do believe that, one benefit of the post-purchase upsell is you don't have to have any offers to the customer prior to purchase. They've given you their credit card, they've given you their shipping information, they've committed to buying from you, and now you give them the offer. So there's absolutely no way of reducing any friction. Even though, Amazon, this was a couple of years ago, they said that 35% of their revenue comes from bundling, cross-sells, and upsells. So, I mean, Amazon probably does a lot of studying on conversion. So I definitely don't believe that upsells are going to reduce it. But like I said, if you do, the post-purchase upsell will not do that at all. And it's a click, so it's not they don't have to re-enter any information. And you've got a committed buyer, so it's actually a much higher converting upsell offer because they've already given you their credit card information. So yeah.
Yeah, and I can see that too, where it's that you're right. They've already committed to buying, and it's just it's another related offer of some sort that it's a yes or a no, and if you don't ask, the answer is already no, and so it makes sense to kind of in a lot of cases it makes sense to offer it.
Yeah,
exactly. I think.
So the way it does it is it offers it. You can set a timer to. 3, well, you can set whatever you want. You can make it 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, however long you want the offer to show there. If the customer places an order and walks away from their computer after 3 minutes or whatever your timer is, it just generates the order like it normally would. But if they accept it, then it generates it instantly with that upsell in their order.
Now, I guess on the flip side of an upsell, there's something called the downsell. Mm-hmm. So how do you handle that, and what is a downsell?
Yeah, downsell is where you offer kind of sort of the opposite of an upsell, I guess. Basically, so say you're offering someone they buy a TV, it's a 42-inch TV, and you offer them hey, for $100 more, you can get the 55-inch TV. And if they say no thanks, then you offer them, oh, okay, well, for only $20 more, you can get the 47-inch. I see. It's like a bit of a downsell, not down from what they originally were buying, but down from the original upsell offer. Again, that's one of the ones that are, you could say, controversial. I don't like, are you being a little bit too pushy? Maybe, but they do convert. And this all kind of comes down to business decisions for stores. Like I would always recommend doing a little bit of experimenting before you start having a whole bunch of offers. But we see stores doing it and doing awesome with it. So, but yeah, it has to be relevant and done in a right kind of way.
Yeah, I definitely get it. Are there any other type of upsell offers other than post-purchase, kind of the upsell, the downsells, or anything else that you can think of that maybe stores can offer?
Yeah, so with our Brain, with Bold Brain upsell, and we also have a subscriptions app. There are some other really neat things you can do, and one of the things we're looking at with. So again, to go back to when you have a committed customer who's buying from you, that the post-purchase upsell is easy to convert on. When you're selling subscriptions, if you have a person subscribed, they're kind of in the same mindset. They're already buying from you. They're getting the product from you every month. So to upsell them on an existing subscription isn't that hard. So if you have every month something coming and you get an email and it says, hey, would you like to add, so say you're getting coffee every month. It's like, hey, would you like to add this limited edition coffee mug for $5 this month? Click one click and it adds it to the next month's order. So with our Bold subscriptions app and upsell and the Brain, you can do that and you can automate it. You don't have to use the Brain. You can manually create them. You can do post subscription purchase upsells as well too, which is sometimes you want to do on just for the first order, ship something with it. And then loyalty upsells is an interesting one. So the Brain also integrates with the Loyalties app, and loyalty points is kind of like money. So when you're every month, if you're a regular buyer of a store, you have loyalty points, and kind of what we're doing with the Brain with that is emailing. So if you have 10,000 points with a store, emailing you and saying, hey, Steve, you have 10,000 points. Here's a few things you can buy with it. But rather than just showing any products that fit under those points, it's using the data from the Brain, showing relevant products that are products related to the product you just bought or have previously bought. So you're going to be much higher to convert on them and click and go, oh yeah, I'll buy that right now. And it's one click. If you have enough points for it, you can just check out with that product. So I guess that's not so much an upsell, but that's more of a Brain kind of integration. That's why I was thinking about that. But
No, they definitely work together, and I definitely see the benefits. And like individually, quite a few apps do lots of great things. Like I mentioned, this whole 80-20, with Shopify doing that 80% well, and it looks like this final 20%, and this is really going to help merchants. Like I said, increase their sales, increase just their average order size, and lifetime customer value.
That's our goal.
Do you have any closing? That's great. Is there any closing comments or anything you'd like to leave with our visitors today?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I guess I would just encourage anyone who's not offering some type of upsell to give it a shot. Like literally, almost every store can benefit from it. And like I mentioned earlier, even stores that have one product, you can do interesting things. Whether it's instruction guides or gift wrapping or warranty pack, whatever. There is ways you can do it. So it's free to try. The Brain is free. The Upsell app is a 30-day free trial. And actually, we'll probably get into it in a minute there, but we've got a special offer for e-commerce yes. Fastlane. It's going to be a lot longer than just 30 days.
Beautiful.
But give it a try. It doesn't cost anything to try, and you can kind of only benefit from it. So even if you don't think you have products that are necessarily, relevant. Just kind of like, that was a really good question you asked earlier about thinking outside the box, because I think that's something a lot of store owners maybe struggle with. So I would just encourage people to give it a try. And we have some stores that are, they just swear by it, and it's been so key to their bottom line, those upsell offers. And it's, so I would encourage everyone to give it a shot.
Beautiful. Well, Jay, thank you so much for coming on the show today. And I guess in parting, I see that you have created a special offer for all the listeners of the e-commerce Fastlane podcast. So can you share what you're offering today?
Yeah, sure. So I guess if you're going to go to ecommercefastlane.com/bold, that's going to redirect you to a page where you can get any of our apps free for 6 months. So not just upsell, any of our apps. There's a whole plethora in there from, I won't go into all of them, but so ecommercefastlane.com/bold, check it out. And you know what, even feel free to pass that on to your friends, but just tell them, make sure they listen to this podcast. Guilt them into it.
You got it. You got it. All right, Jay, thanks so much for coming on the show today, and have a great day.
My pleasure, Steve. Thanks for having me.
I hope you enjoyed my conversation today with Jay Myers from Bold Commerce. I especially would like to thank Jay for the clarity now on cross-selling and upselling with your e-commerce store. An upsell replaces the original product, and a cross-sell adds more to a selected product. So the full show notes and links to an extremely generous 6-month free trial for Upsell app, Bold Brain, or any of the apps that Bold Commerce develop can be found at ecommercefastlane.com/Bold Commerce. Thanks again, Jay, for hooking up the listeners with this sweet deal. And as this show is new, and any and all support is greatly appreciated. So if you haven't already done so, if you can take a few minutes to subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher for Android, it only takes a moment of your time on your phone to subscribe. And I'd be so grateful if you could write a 5-star rating and review. The first 8 weeks of any new show, it's crucial for its visibility and success in iTunes, and then the eventual discoverability in the new and noteworthy section of iTunes. So leaving a 5-star review is a great way that you can show your appreciation to the continued production of this show. Thanks again for being a supporter. And tune in next week when my guest is going to be Roman from Gorgeous. It's a e-commerce CRM solution, and we're going to discuss how to improve customer service experience that you're delivering to your customers. And you'll also learn about how to provide a unified support experience across all of your channels. And finally, how to use automation to automatically respond to common support requests. So it's definitely an episode you're not going to want to miss. Thank you again for taking time out of your busy day and listening to the show. I truly appreciate you and your entrepreneurial journey, be that online, offline, or anywhere in between. Until then, enjoy the rest of your week and take care.